All right, guys, starting right on time. So just so you guys know, I'm a stickler with time because I know that everybody wants to start on time, end on time, especially East Coast. It's getting later in the evening over here. So welcome to our first collaborative team call. I'm so excited to collab with some other leaders. And I'm not sure how many are on, but I know Jamie Lynn's on. And I know some of you guys are part of the other team, but I can't see my whole screen. So I'm sure Darcy's on here somewhere, and Kristen. And so the girls that we work together for the Make It to Manager Bootcamp, we decided just to keep that vibe of collaboration and the energy of working together. It would be fun to do a call together once a month. So this is our first one, and we're so excited that we have a special guest who I'm going to introduce in a moment. But I want you guys to just mark your calendars and organize yourself to expect that the first Tuesday of every month at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we will do a collaborative call. And what we want to do is really find a way to set goals and then celebrate you guys and just have a fun, different vibe every month. So because this is our first one, we do have a special guest, and the topic we're going to talk about is mindset. But before I actually even introduce Daphney, I want to tell you guys that I am going to have an executive class. I did this last year too. Some of you might have been in it. It is on the 21st of this month. It starts a little earlier at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's probably going to be about a 90-minute Zoom. If you want, I'm opening this to anybody. You could be in any team. This is a class, so-called class that's on a Zoom, where I'm really going to teach you the compensation plan and how to build to executive and stay paid as executive, show you where the money generates from, but then also answer questions that you might have about how to build to executive. I'm going to give you guys messages and ideas and things that I've done and used to create consultants that were serious builders. And then we're going to work together. We're going to do blocks of work. If that sounds like something you want to do, even if you've already hit executive, I know that one of the executives in my downline reached out. She's like, I want to be on it because I want to mentor people the same way you do. So I would love to be on it and learn how to then go out and teach it. So it is open to anybody. It will be geared for somebody new who really wants to take a look at the opportunity and understand. So those of you who are just getting started, it'll be perfect for you to understand the income that is possible and how you can strategically build and stay paid as executive, and what kind of income that will mean, and how you can share it and teach it to other people to excite them. So if you want to join that, again, mark your calendars, but please, if you did not register and you want to, at some point this week, just send me a message and I'll send you the link to register, because you will be getting emails. There's things I'm going to help you with to prep for it, so that when we're on that 90-minute is going to be tops, but when we're on that Zoom, we're actually going to have blocks of working time. So if that sounds like something for you or anybody in your team, guys, it doesn't matter if you're connected to me financially, you're more than welcome to be on it. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention to you guys is that there is a UIA, University in Action, which is a personal development opportunity opportunity to have personal development through an event through Isogenics with David Woods. And that's going to be in Philly, November 4th and 5th. I know Jamie Lynn's going, I'm going. I'm sure Kristen's probably going, right, Jamie Lynn? Okay. And I know some of you have expressed some interest. So just keep that in mind, and all that information's in your back office. So now for tonight, I'm really excited to introduce Daphney. Daphney, wave over there on the screen. Daphney, you look so good. So Daphney is a mindset coach. She's a published author. She has worked to help people with brand image for several years. She's traveled all over the world doing so, really helping women with their branding, a lot of image consulting, and she has a huge passion for mindset work. And so I actually have worked with her through a 9-week course back in the beginning of the year, where I just felt like I was kind of stuck with my own mindset and needed a little bit of a breakthrough and really some strategic things to get me out of a little bit of a funk that I was in. And it really helped. And I know that right now, a lot of us, I'm feeling it too, feeling a little shift. We've got to kind of pivot with things that are going on. There's a lot of changes. We came back from our event, right? Orlando, or you watched it and we're fired up. And then it's like you're getting into action and you might not be receiving the result that you really thought you would get or that you crave. And it's super easy to let that discourage you and to actually affect your mindset if you're not really, really careful about habitually working on your mindset. So I think it's really great to have you, Daphney, tonight to kick off this collaborative team call. And so I want you guys to be present. If you can have your cameras on, great. Take notes, be present. My prayer for tonight is that we all receive the message that we need at this time. And then I'm going to just turn it over to you, Daphney. Unless you need anything else from me, I'll mute because I just want to engage. And then you can just do what you do and show us all how to have a better, stronger mindset, because we all have this desire to achieve, and we want to make sure that we don't allow up here to sabotage our results. So welcome, Daphney. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. And I'm excited to come back to your group because this is my second time that I've had the opportunity to speak with your group. I was wondering, did you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay. So I don't know how many people on the call had a chance to answer the questionnaire that I put through. And for those who did, I'm going to review it. I had a glance at it, but I will review it personally for each person and kind of give you an idea. But with tonight, the reason why I sent out the questionnaire was to really get the group thinking before we came into here. And together, we're going to dissect that short questionnaire. It was really just 8 questions, but those 8 questions had 4 different categories and what I call polarities, in which that could really show you a glimpse of where your mindset could be at. Let me go ahead and share this with you right now. What I mean by polarity. Wait, share screen. Okay. All right, let me just get it download. So what I want to talk to you guys about polarity. Polarity is really from the perspective of, like, in life, what serves you and what does not serve you. And once you're able to have have that understanding of what is in your interest, and to when you're faced with a situation or a question, for you to be able to know what is that. And we have that free will. Why is this do you guys still see this, or did you see there's nothing to show here?
It says there's nothing to show here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? It says that there's nothing to show here.
Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Gina, you have it. Would you be able to put it up? Because I'm using, this is my son's computer.
Okay. Well, yeah. It'll take me a second because I would have to upload it. So if you want to introduce.
Let me see if I could get it right here.
Okay.
It shouldn't be doing that, but I don't, nope, that's not it. That's another one. All right. Well, with polarity, what polarity is about us looking at situations from a perspective of what serves us and what doesn't serve us. And because of free will, I don't know how many of you kind of understand the concept of free will, because we have that choice, we have that free will to choose. And within our will to choose, when we are approached with something, we can always have to bear in mind of, like, this decision I'm about to make, or how I'm feeling about this right now, is it serving me or is it not serving me? So the questionnaire that I have for you guys that I put together on the Google Forms is to really kind of examine to see what your answers are, and then to see whether or not it serves you. And I really apologize for this image not coming up right now. It's right. Okay, let's see if it works now. Can you guys see that?
I don't see anything.
Can you guys see it?
I don't see anything.
No.
I hear nothing. Huh?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I. What's showing? There's a picture showing right now.
I only see the screen.
You know, okay.
I only see you. All right, now it's saying you're sharing.
Okay. How about
Okay,
now?
I see it.
Okay. So I hope if everyone have a pen and paper, and you can answer these questions. I would love also for us to participate if you feel comfortable with answering this, or you can just answer it for yourself. So the categories and the 8 questionnaires was dealt with abundance versus scarcity, growth mindset versus fix, reflective versus productivity, and what's your yes factor. The first question touched on your yes factor. Now, I would like for you to ask yourself and write it down. And if you want to share, you can, but I'll explain to you. I saw some of the answers I got, and a lot of it just went through some of the suggestions I gave. But the reason I'm really asking about what motivates you and what's your yes, it's because a lot of time when we make decisions, it's really about limiting beliefs or an embedded belief. I'll give an example. Like for me, my yes is always related to something that deals with knowledge or education. Reason being, when I'm from Haiti, and from a very young age, I remember the first time I went into an office in the United States. My mom's brought me into this office. I don't remember what paperwork we had to do. And she kept pointing out people to me. She was like, you see that woman behind that desk? She's there because of her education. She's there because she's educated. And then she goes and she sees another person. You see why that person is at that position? Because of their education. And so I was embedded with this idea that my worth and value is based on my knowledge. I did not look at my looks. I did not look at anything like that. And everything that I do, it was until I was like 40 when I actually looked in the mirror and liked what I saw, because I always felt that it was what I brought forward. It was my knowledge, it was my skill that was opening doors for me. Even when I worked in the fashion industry, I always wore black. And I was never one to participate in the going out and party scene, because I was like, no, let my work speaks for itself. You know, I didn't show up wanting to show. I wanted to show my work. It was only recently when someone who approached me on Facebook, it was like, I'm like, oh, I wonder why this person reached out to me. I was more curious about why this person reached out to me. Apparently we were on the same group. And then he said to me, oh, I'm part of this. Are you part of a mastermind group? And I was like, no. Immediately it struck a chord about, oh, knowledge. I could learn something. I could meet people, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like all excited about this mastermind group that he's telling me about. And then he was like, he hits me up that it's $1,000 to join it. Guess what? I actually contemplated joining that group, knowing nothing about it. Even all the stuff he was saying was, I'm like raising flags, because all it was really was like, like one of those Bitcoin type of thing. But because he introduced it to me from the perspective of a mastermind group, I wanted to be affiliated with that, because I'm like, it's going to work the mind. And it was after that I had to really evaluate, like, why was I even considering joining that? Why was I so close to even gift my credit card for this thing that I really didn't know anything about? He really didn't even explain much to me about it, and I was ready to sign on the dot. And that's when I realized my yes are things that are related to knowledge. So I would like for you guys to take a moment and think about, why do you say yes? Like, what's your yes? Because in the business you're in, if you're able to look at, even when you go to approach someone, if you could try and, it's very hard sometimes to identify that, because not a lot of people even know what that is. But once you with your mindset, because when you go to make a decision, you will know where that answer is coming from, and also you will have the ability to be kinder to yourself. So when the piece of paper that you have, I hope you have a notepad or a piece of paper in front of you, just take a moment and think about, like, what is your yes? And then if you'd like to share it, I would really appreciate it. And we'll move to the next question. So what is your yes? I have this thing up. I can't see anybody's, I'll go ahead and hopefully this will open again, but I would love to see everyone's faces. So what's your yes? Just think about it for a moment. Like, what makes you say yes unequivocally? I see you scratching your head, Gina. Do you have the answer? And it doesn't have to have an answer tonight, but just think about it. Like, what drives you? Because even if it's, even if it's a thing from finance, but what's behind the reason why the finance?
Daphney,
Like,
can you see
what's
the
your
chat?
yes?
Because people are writing in the chat.
Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm not muted.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I was saying, can you see the chat? People are in the chat writing it.
Okay. Opportunity, recognition. Okay. And opportunity. What is opportunity? Like, why opportunity? What exactly do you mean by opportunity? Because sometimes, when you look at the opportunities, is it the opportunity because of the recognition? Is it the opportunity because of the achievement? Is it the opportunity because of the self-worth? Because sometimes we seek opportunity because we think like, oh, this opportunity will give me value.
Money.
And those are kind of like the dialogue, Uh-huh.
I was gonna say opportunity. I think opportunity to make money, opportunity to create more credibility, opportunity, like that kind of opportunity.
Okay. So if I come to you and I say, okay, and like the way the guy said to me, I have a mastermind group. What other word would he say that would be a trigger point for you to say a yes? Would it be like, oh, you could make a lot of money, or would it be like you can make an impact? Like, no, like that, yes.
I'd have to give it more thought, but probably usually if it's, I'm being really vulnerable, but like any kind of recognition usually makes me, interested.
Beautiful, but that's a beautiful self-awareness though, because once you know that, then you know your why. People say, oh, my why are my children. Yeah, but why? It's given because, your children, your family, that's your survival, that's your identity. But why you keep going? And once you understand that, then when when it comes to like you starting to feel down or you're doubting yourself, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Is it because I'm feeling like I'm not being recognized at this point? Then at that point, you're able to be kinder to yourself because you say, okay, if I need that recognition, it's okay because I may not have it here, but I have it there. But when you don't know where that's coming from because you haven't satisfied your yes, then you're able to say, okay, what do I need to do? Or it's okay for me to be in this space right now. It's I know there's a lot of replies here. When it involves service to others that change their lives. Beautiful. Now, what is it? Bobby and Jason, right?
Can you?
I would, are you able to unmute yourself? Hi.
Yeah,
Hi. Like service others, like what does that do for you? Like, why is that a yes?
I'm a chiropractor, so can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes.
Okay.
We're wearing the same color. You must have got the memo.
Yeah. Like, great girl. Yeah, so it's just about for me, if I can help them in their health or change a mindset that I can see, like they're not just going to lose a couple pounds, but they're going to, their whole family's going to get healthier. All those little things like that, like just light me up, or if somebody says, hey, we have a prayer group going on and we're going to pray for the nation. I'm in, like stuff like that.
That's beautiful. But you see, that's your yes, right? But where do you think that imprint came from? Where do you think think that imprint came from? Where do you think that desire originated from?
Well, kind of like you with your mom, my parents were like that. Like they were always praying. There were always a prayer group. There was always, and my mom was always, I'm not a cook, but she was always cooking for everybody. So I don't do the cooking thing, but I'm more of like, can I fix you or not fix you, you know what I mean? But like in your health, can I help you with your health? Can I make you healthier and help you and your family be healthier? And just, it's all about too, like seeing people's families thrive instead of I've seen a lot of people, their health goes so far downhill that they can't be parents or they can't be grandparents, or they don't have the ability to do the things they want to do anymore. And that really pushes me. I want to help people to, thrive, not survive.
Perfect. So now with that type of imprint that's been put in you from very young, so it's embedded. Now, do you find that when you go into a negative mindset where you judge yourself for not showing up with that, or when you feel like you're not doing enough?
Yes. Yeah.
So now that we've pointed that out, next time you feel that way, then you'll be like, that's where that comes from. It's okay. And you can give yourself permission, because it's not you that's a failure. It's just that something that's already ingrained in you that's looking to continue to be fed. Do you understand that process with that mindset?
Yes, yeah.
Because when you know where it comes from, then you can heal it and forgive yourself. Like I have someone today who is Japanese, and in Japan, shame is very big. So her kid was playing a soccer game, and she said their team lost by 1-5. The girl is only 9 years old, and she felt shame the whole time. She's like, I was so shameful. I didn't even want to go for food afterwards and da. But that's cultural. Right. So if once she's able to realize that that's cultural, that I didn't do anything wrong. It's not a reflection of me. And that's what a lot of time, once we understand where certain thoughts are coming from and where the seed was planted, then we're able to know how to weed out. But once we don't know where it's coming from, then it overcomes us.
Right. And you get overwhelmed. Yes, I agree. That's good.
Yes. Okay. All right. Because we have some other questions to go to. I hope, I don't know if anyone else, but thank you, Bobby, for sharing. I just think
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go to the next question. You guys see this one?
Yes.
Okay. So the next question is, what do you do when you do not understand something or hit a block? Again, it's the thing of like being kind to yourself. And I saw some wonderful answers in the answers that were given earlier, because this group, which is a great testimony to this group, was like a lot of people who answered, their answer was they would look for help. And that is what the right thing to do, because once you open yourself to getting that help, then you don't continue to go into that downward spiral of that negative mindset. Because the minute you reach out, now mind you, it has to be from someone that is, you don't want to get help from someone that's just as negative and where at the space where you're at. But get help from somebody that is empowered, that is more educated than you at that point, not educated necessarily or smarter, but just more educated on that subject you're looking for. Like, for example, with the isogenic group, if you feel a block, reach out to like your team member or your team leader, and not allow yourself to sit in the space of that negative mindset. Because the more you do that, believe it or not, the more that you go deep into it, and the more a negative reaction you create, because you become what you think about. And what you give energy to grow. So if you're giving energy to that block and to feel that feeling of disempowered, all you're going to get is more of it. Your reality starts in your mind. So I would like I want to what time is this finished, Gina?
Usually about an hour we do.
Okay, because we're already, okay. So I don't want to hold anyone off. So I think this is pretty easy enough for you guys. So just think of like, what would you do when it comes to if you hit a block? Would you seek help, or are you someone that would be too shy because you don't want anyone to think like you're not knowledgeable? The third one is when you set a goal, what tends to run through your mind in the process of completing that goal? Again, for those who haven't answered this, just contemplate it and think about it. And I'll show you which category they all fell under, because I really would want us to have a dialogue. So, and goal setting, let's say you set a goal and you want to sign in a certain amount of people in the group. It's what you're thinking about along that journey that matters. The goal, it's almost like it would serve you much better if you had a passive optimistic relationship with that goal, which means that you don't set a hard expectation on yourself, and you just go along the journey of like what it would take to achieve that goal, as opposed to, I'm not going to hit this, I'm looking bad in front of all the negative thoughts that can go along with that. But if you could just sit with the goal and just like, okay, this is the goal, and along the way just mind your mindset, and not and it's like, how do you do that? How do you mind your mindset? It's by observing it. And the best way I find that it has worked for me personally is through meditation. I remember one time I was having this negative chatter in my mind. And I remember, like, as if I was right here observing myself and watching all these thoughts. And then something said, what I'm thinking about now, what can I do about it? Can I change it? Is it something that's in my control? And all the answers were no. And then I did not realize how negative my mind was. And it was from then on that I started observing my mind. In order for you to get to that point where you can when you can observe your mind, is when you can learn to quiet your mind. And believe me, the first time I quieted my mind was not easy. I felt like I was, to be quite honest, I don't know anyone's faith, I felt I was committing a sin, because I come from a Catholic background, and I'm like, and it was a guided meditation. I was like, oh my gosh, why did this feel weird? Because my body was like this, but my mind was starting to go like that. And there was such an imbalance that I was like in fear, and I kept with it. And that was the best thing that I've done, because now when I could be driving and I could see myself going down this downward spiral, like, why did this person say that? How could they say that about me? And all of a sudden I find this person here watching, going, what relevance is this? How can you change it? And then all of a sudden you shift it and learn how to transmute the thought. We don't have enough time now, but there's a book, my God, it's called Transmutation. I forgot the name. I'll give it to Gina, where it trains you how to transmute a thought. So when you start going into that negative chatter, for you to be able to change the conversation in order for you to not go into that downward spiral. Because the negative mind that, when you nurture it, you will notice how everything else around you will show up to deliver what you've created in your head, because we are the creator of our reality. And I know it's a very, like far out, metaphysical perspective, but if you think positive, you will attract positive around you. And if you notice, like, if you're someone that's extremely positive and you're happy, the minute you start attracting or connecting with someone that is extremely negative, gossipy, and of low, like that kind of low energy substance, you will notice all of a sudden things will start going wrong in your life, because the universe will show up to whatever reality you're in, to whatever mindset you're in. And that's why it's so important for you to be able to monitor the mind, to know where the inception point of good or bad, and to be able to just be with the positive aspect of yourself, and no matter what, and don't compromise that. I'm going to move on to the next question. I don't know if anyone have any. And the next one is, how did your parents' relationship with money influence you? The reason why I asked this question is against the point of inception, because if we have the mindset of scarcity, as if like, there's always a lack, no matter how high you achieve, you will find a way to bring yourself back down. because of that, there will always be that little chatter of like, as if also almost as if you don't deserve it because it's not familiar to you because you came from that fear of not having. Once you're able to identify, let's say some like I like my ex, for example, his whole thing is we don't discuss money. And for me, it's like that's not a thing to kind of like put to children because one, it's it's that is ingrained in them. They will always have a disconnected relationship with that. It's not just about money, it's about anything. Families who don't discuss feelings, what happened? They produce children that are disconnected from their feelings because there's never been that dialogue. So the relationship with money as adults, that is a driving force for us. And you guys are not here being part of isogenic for the sake of your health. You're here to grow. You're here to maintain a certain level of success financially or to achieve a level of success. In order for you to be able to truly connect with that and achieve it at the way where it's sturdy, you have to understand what is your relationship with money. Because anyone that have made money and lost money, when they started losing that money, it started in their mind. Because if you really talk to them, there was a point where they're achieving it, and then all of a sudden they started doubting, they started questioning, and then they started worrying, then they started protecting, and then all of a sudden it will show up to that reality that they've created. So your relationship with money is very important as far as whether you have a relationship of abundance with money or a relationship with scarcity. That been ingrained in you from your parents, if you know what was ingrained in you, if it doesn't serve you, again, that polarity, you have the choice to let it go. Is there anyone that would like to share their relationship with money? One of the big ones. Oh, wow. Vindoma, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't pronounce your name wrong.
You can call me Donna.
Would you like to share? Hi. Yes,
Hey.
this is powerful what you just wrote. Please share.
Um, the why? Are you talking about the why?
Yes.
Was it me? About the women?
It's yeah, the women, the strong women. So these strong women, what was
Right.
their relationship with money?
Well, it was my grandmother. She's the one that started the whole process for me. And I grew up in a salon. I'm a hairstylist. I grew up in a salon. There was a lot of women in my life. She had a lot of girls, and she had daughters and granddaughters and great granddaughters. And she was 13 when she married and had her first child. And so she told all of the girl children in our whole life, you had to go to school, you had to go to trade, you had to go to college, you had to do something. You could not rely on a husband, because she did that at 13, and she was a woman before her time. She ended up fighting to drive, to go to college, to have a career, to, you know, do anything independent because she was supposed to be dependent. So she's the one that took every female in the line. You got to decide what you wanted to be by the first semester. I mean, your first summer after high school. And if you didn't decide, then she decided for you, and she signed you up to college, and you went. And she did that with all three generations, and we all have degrees. And I owe her everything.
Oh, beautiful.
Very, very emotional.
Okay, but watching her being that strong of a woman, what was your opinion of her and her relationship with money? Because a woman like that, I guarantee you there was money under the bed, under the mattress. So
She was an entrepreneur. She started her own salon after not even getting out of junior high, and she had her own business. And then she also started a business for her granddaughter, her granddaughter. She started a business for me, and she made sure that we all had our own money, and we had our education, and we were expected to be able to take care of ourselves. And it was an entrepreneurship mentality of, you're going to do this, you're going to do it by yourself on your own, and you're going to succeed because you're a woman, not in spite of.
Yep,
It
that
was
was
just
similar to the
online.
message. He's like, because you're a woman, but yeah.
But she started from
Yeah.
nothing, being in an unplanned pregnancy with not even an education.
Now, yeah, now upon reflection of that imprint of her and you watching her, how do you find that this is helping you now as you know, because right now being with the isogenic group, I mean, we're here for you know, to build the mindset of isogenic, how taken away from her drive that you think you can tap into now, like that kind of energy that she has, what can you tap in about her that would fuel you?
You cannot fail if you just do it. She's 13 years old, pregnant, and no education, and she became a business owner and sent 3 generations of women to college. Her money from
Yep.
13 years old, unplanned pregnant teenager.
Yeah.
You can
And you know
fail.
what? The biggest thing to say, you cannot fail if you just do it.
Just
Because
go.
while you're doing it, you're
Show
not
up.
in the mindset of doubt.
So,
Yeah.
and
Because while you're doing it, you're not in the mindset of doubt. You're not questioning yourself. You're not the, you know, what if I fail, da da da, because you just have to do it.
failure is not an option. You have people depending on you. You cannot fail. You have to keep doing it because
So how is that impacting you now?
I show
How
up.
is that bringing impact to you now?
I show up every day. I cannot fail, and I am determined that the generations after me that come from me will not fail and will not work for someone else, but will be their own boss, and the sky's the limit. And it's just her voice that rings in my head every day. Just show up, keep doing it. You cannot fail. And money is a vehicle to help other women and my family. But women are special to me because there's so many strong women in my life, and we owe each other this. We owe each other,
Absolutely.
to share our good
Yeah.
things, health and our wealth. And
that's why, like, I'm glad you said that, because and you know, with this group, it's predominantly women. I think I saw a I don't know how many men are part of it, but if you show up with the mindset and willing to straighten another woman's crown, each time you do that, you empower yourself and you also help strengthen your foundation. And a lot of time when we get into a negative mindset, if we can get out of the me, and just look to see who else can I help, then all of a sudden you will realize how much easier things come for you. And I think it's very important when you're part of a women's group, or any time when there's women together, we tend to go more to the competitive edge and going like, oh, what is she wearing? What is she doing? And this and that, as opposed to like, how can I fix your crown? Because you fix one person's crown, there'll be a time when yours might be crooked or yours could fall off and someone would be there to put it on for you. So no, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. All right. And I wanted to address the one my mother always told me: money doesn't grow on trees. Actually does. It's made from trees. But I can't address everything because there's so much more, but I'll just move on to the next question. How does your parents' relationship with money influence you? But everyone, please answer that. Those who have not answered on the Google form, you can take the opportunity to answer it now. I'll just go through it real quick. How do you feel about change? Does it scare you or excite you? There are people who are afraid of change, but listen, if you want to grow, you have to be open for change. As you guys, each and every one of you are entrepreneurs, working in isogenic, you are entrepreneurs, you are your own boss, in a sense of like, you are responsible for how you grow. You have to be of the mindset, being open and willing to change, to shift a strategy, to expand a strategy, or to simply just be creative with something, or collaborate like the teams are doing right now. And a stagnant mindset will never expand you. And I look at energies this way. There are 2 rivers, right? There's the Nile River, and then there's the Dead Sea. The Nile River is active because it flows, and within that river, you'll find beautiful exotic wildlife, beautiful, it's just gorgeous. It's vibrant, it's active. And the Dead Sea is just stagnant. It's still, it goes nowhere. It's dark. Hardly anything grows there. Why is that? One is active and one is not active. And if you look at life that way, when it comes to your actions and the way you move toward goals, is like, am I being active? Because your active is the equivalent of that of the Nile River, or are you that of that Dead Sea, where you're just that bleak, stagnant water? And that's how I look at it. I'm like, when you have to achieve something, like how you said about your grandmother, just show up and do it. By her showing up and doing it, she is that Nile River. Look how many places she flowed through. The Dead Sea goes to one place. The Nile River just flows to so many and feeds so much. There's so much that thrives out of that. So that's the way I look at it when it comes to change. Are you going to be that Nile River, or are you going to be that Dead Sea? And that choice is yours. That choice is absolutely yours. Are you going to be the one flowing through so many wonderful things that you're creating these beautiful experiences in your life? Or are you just going to sit in the corner and just contemplate your ills? So please answer those questions as, and then do you think first and take action, or do you take actions and then, or you act and then think about it later? I remember the reason I asked that question, and I would love for someone to answer that for me. I was very young and I saw a movie called Love Jones. And I was like, I was in Atlanta when I saw this movie, and I was like, why don't we have that in Florida? And the thought just crossed my mind. And then I went back to Florida a month later. I created Love Jones of Fort Lauderdale. And then I started doing competition. I was like, they had competition in that film. Why don't I have competition? I fly to New York and I go to the New York Cafe and I approach poets. And I was like, want to do a battle with Florida? And so next thing you know, the newspaper was like, the people who consider themselves hip and know what's happening, they started featuring me in the newspaper. For a year straight, the Sun Sentinel and the Miami Herald featured me just about every week. It was like, I was in the front of the newspaper talking about Love Jones and the creative ideas. And then there was this magazine, I don't even know, it was like a journal or whatever. It's published in Fort Lauderdale, and it was entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs. And the lady asked me, what is the secret to your success? I mean, at the time I was 23 years old, okay? And I just looked at her and I said, I was stupid enough to just do it. Because a lot of time we outsmart ourselves out of a good idea. Sometimes you just got to be stupid enough to do it. If you have an idea, give it a try. As long as it's not going to hurt you and it's not going to hurt anyone, but you never know what can come out of an idea. I just saw a movie. I was 22 years old or something like that. In Atlanta, went on a trip with a girlfriend who was hooking up with some guy. I just thought, hey, free trip, here's somewhere to stay. And she was dating this basketball player. I'm like, oh, cool. Saw a movie and I'm like, why don't we have that? It lasted for 2 years in Fort Lauderdale, got great recognition for it. And it was great. And it impacted so many people that, some of the poets that came to there still keep in touch with me. And the career path that evolved came from the confidence they gained by going on that stage to speak, but I was stupid enough to do it. So sometimes when you act before you think, it's okay, as long as it's not at the detriment of somebody else or of yourself. But sometimes you have an idea, a way you want to do something to promote your business, just go for it. Do not outsmart yourself out of a good idea. Let's see. And then the next one is when you have to make a decision on the spot, what is your, again, that's a yes or no. Like, what is your yes? If you have to make that decision on the spot, what's your yes or no? So all of these questions, I will tell you the numbers to show, because all of each of these questions related to this section. And you can see way or disempowering way will show you which category that fell under. So the number one, abundance, was question number 4 and 5. Number 2, growth and fix, that was question number 2 and 3. For number 3, reflective and productive, that was question number 6 and 7. And for your yes, that was question 1 and 8. Examine what your answers were and see whether you are from those categories, are you of a mindset that serves you or does not serve you? Like, let's say for abundance, Do you have that scarcity mindset? I know it's a very surface dive into this, but but I want, I just want to introduce the conversation, because that questionnaire, take a moment and go deeper with it. Gina shared the link. I don't know, because I decided to do it on Google's form because I wanted to be able to go back and kind of give you guys the answer. But if you want the actual, like the slide that I just have, I can share it with you, and just know, so that way you can be able to really think on it, because it's not, sometimes we answer stuff so fast that it becomes it's a superficial answer. But it's, it's the question's broad enough that you have an opportunity to narrow it. And I'm of the mind that the work that I do, I don't want to tell you what to think. I write in a way that will give you the opportunity to think yourself and then bring it down to the seed. So the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, and then I'll ask question, is that what I can control and what I can't. If you look at this map here, stuff that is outside of your control, like the opinion of others, the action of others, me, like some of those are questionable, like the future. I think I control my future. If I through like I do visual, like I visual into the future, and there are things that I do that I create for me to create that reality. So that one is questionable. What happens around me, that too, because you can control what's around you based on your mindset, and what other people think of me, the outcome of my efforts, and how others take care of themselves. True, that's not in your control. But what is in your control is the boundaries you set, your thoughts and actions, the goals you set, what you give your energy to, which is so important, so important. How you speak to yourself, right there, and how you handle challenges. I give this more power than what's out here, because I'm all about what's in power. So boundaries, your thoughts and actions, the goals you set for yourself, what you give energy to, how you speak to yourself. It is so important. Self-talk is so important, that inner dialogue, because we are always with us. The most important relationship you will ever have is your relationship between you and you. And that needs to be nurtured, respect, and loved. So I thank you guys. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer, because I'm very mindful of time, because I know Gina's a stickler for time, and I know everyone's. So I want to give an opportunity for a question, and if you guys have any questions, or those who answered, I will personally go through it, and then I will give you a short little synopsis of what I think of, like, areas that I think, because that could shift in the mind. Any question?
Daphney, thank you so much.
Please unmute, because
I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So what is something that you can, give advice, just, I know, we don't have a ton of time, but for somebody, I know there's a lot of people on the call who, they really are invested. They love the community and the culture. They do see the opportunity that's in front of them. They've seen other people around them successful. And, what I've seen with a lot of people in this company and in this industry is it's like this, okay, I'm on, I just got off this great call, or I just watched a podcast, or I was listening to an event, recording or whatever, and they're on. And then boom, it's like they're back down to feeling self-doubt, discouraged, frustrated. Maybe it's not for me, questioning. And as a leader, in this, and I know for myself, the only way that I have reached the success I've had is because I constantly make it a habit to work on what I'm thinking about and how I stay consistent. I see it in other people, I'm in, I'm out, the back and the forth, the self-sabotage. What are some things for you as a mindset coach that you would suggest people that struggle there? Because I know a lot of people do struggle there. With self-sabotage, with comparison, with, okay, maybe this is not for me after all. Oh my gosh, I was so excited about this meeting and the person never got back to me. And they constantly get pulled back and pulled back into the negative. What are some easy to implement strategies and practices that somebody like that struggling with that could start
The
immediately?
first thing I would say is be kind to yourself. Because we spend more time beating ourselves up and punching ourselves than and the time it takes to recover is hard. Because you know how they say it's worse for someone to get mentally abused. It's harder for them to recover than if they've been physically abused. So imagine when we are and when we are not kind to ourselves because of negative self-talk. Think about how long and how hard it is to kind of recover from that. So what I would suggest is when you are in your good state of being, protect it. Protect it, because a lot of times people come off something and they're super excited and then charged up, and then someone say one negative thing. That one negative thing is much more impactful than if someone complimented you. I'll give an example on how you can protect it. As I was going through my divorce, I was going to a meeting, and it was about working with this person for image branding. So I'm on my game, and I'm meeting with this person in person. I'm dressed, and this this isn't someone that's an executive, so I gotta show up. And my ex shows up, and he was like, "Oh, where are you going? Looking at you." And whatever he said, I don't remember what he said, but I remember he just sucked everything out of me, every excitement and every confidence, everything out of me. I got in the car, and I was like, I looked in the rearview mirror, and you know what I said to myself? I am so happy that Stephen is so supportive of me. I just love the way he promotes my success. I'm so appreciative that him and I can have such a wonderful relationship. Blah blah blah, and I just affirmed it in the positive. And as I was driving, the feeling of what he sucked out of me, it's almost like the momentum of that instant shift of transmuting that experience. I felt as if I entered a whole different realm, and I was back in my confidence. And I walked into that meeting not even remembering what he had done to me. Just because there are people that we refer to them as energy vampire. They may not be aware of it, but because of their own low self-worth, self-love, and their own, jealousy or whatever is that low energy that they're operating in, they're not even realizing that they're putting a hook on you. And what happened when a hook is placed on you? Remove it. Because if I did not, and I don't know what made me do it. I do not know what made me do it at that time. I just got in the car, and I look in that rearview mirror. I knew the only thing that would give me strength is to know that that I had felt support back then instead of that depletion that I experienced. So it's the same thing that I would suggest with anybody that as they're starting to feel doubt about their ability to succeed and thrive with the patient. Also, when you are able to be connected with yourself, connect with what's the feeling you're getting. Go to the library, not library, but go to the dictionary, go to Google, go whatever. Find the exact opposite of that word. Like if you're feeling loss, we know what it is, but by just doing that effort, going and say, what's an antonym for that? Found. I'm so happy that I found my calling. I am so thankful that, you know what? I was, that whoever brought you in found me and made me realize how successful I could be. Man, it feels good to be found. Look, right then and there, you just empowered yourself with your words, as opposed to sitting with the word, I'm lost. I'm not succeeding. I'm not achieving. I'm not, whatever that negative thought that's going through your mind, find the word, identify the positive to it. That's that polarity. That is the shift of reality. And I do it. Over the summer, last year, my son who's in middle school had a hard time with school because of, self-esteem and confidence, da, da, da. And I was like, how can I help? I know as a mom at home, I would not be effective. What did I do? I go to the local library. I say, hey, I have a mindset program. Can I teach it to the kids here? Showed up at the library. 12 kids came and got exposed to this, and I worked with them on their mindset. By the time my son came out of the class this year, he's like, Mom, I think I've decided that I'm just going to be the neutralizer. Because what I did is that doing that workshop, all I did was teach them to transmute the feeling of that insecurity of not being seen, and just transmute it. But I knew it could not be done as mom, so it was done in a group environment. Now I could have sat there and wallow in it with him, but find the empowering aspect. Like, here's the problem, what needs to be done? Transmute it, don't sit with it. I don't know if that answered it, but the biggest thing I would say, find the word that's attached to your negativity or to your empowerment, and affirm yourself with the positive.
Yeah, I think that's
And also
perfect.
reach out to others. Don't call somebody who's going to be there, excuse my French, that's going to sit there and bitch with you. Because, you know what I mean? Failure loves company. If you call somebody and they're like, you know what, I don't know if this company is for me. Yeah, I think you're right. Guess what? All you found was someone to help you dig a hole. Find that person that's going to help you fill the hole, or that person that's going to help you build that ladder. Perhaps it's a hole you don't need to be in, but that doesn't mean you need to dig it. And also, I would challenge each and every one of you to this, is make the commitment to each other that you will always fix each other's crown. Because a team success is more powerful than an individual success. Be that example that all other teams would want to be like you guys. Because it's that community that a lot of people seek. A lot of people, sure, there are people in the isogenics that is there, that their first reason for coming in there is because of the potential of community. And I was expected to see like that community. Someone to say that. I didn't read everything, but I know for a fact what keeps in is the relationship. Because Gina, for you, it was your relationship that brought you in. It was your relationship with, oh my gosh, I saw her on the call.
Debbie.
Debbie. I always, her last name always, but it was your relationship with Debbie. Gina, was your relationship with me, that community, because, when I met you, I was like, whatever you're doing, I want to do it. And I was part of that community with the boot camp. So
Awesome.
that's so.
Yeah, I love that. So thank you so much. And just, if you guys for taking away, I wrote some notes, but recapping where we're at, it's the end of this year. So we're really wrapping up a year, guys. And think about what that's going to look like for you, and what can you leave behind? Like, after hearing this too, I think it's like a lot of self-awareness. I know we're always learning, always, no matter how much personal development we've gone through, it's like always learning and recognizing in ourselves. So I think, the best thing to do after this call and after hearing this training tonight on mindset is to really think about it tonight. Like, what can you move past? How can you move forward? I always think about, you evolve or you repeat. And I say that to myself every morning. Some people say it to themselves January 1st. You can evolve or repeat. It's your choice. I say that every morning. Am I going to evolve today, or am I going to repeat what was yesterday? And if you kind of have that mindset, and then I love that advice, Daphney, because I do see so much self-sabotage. And so recognize it. And I love Googling the opposite word and then transmuting that thought. And really powerful.
Also, I would recommend, I would suggest, like, since we're coming towards the end of the year, like it's early in the month. If you guys could keep a secret, like, tab of like the negative thoughts that go through your mind, right? As you're coming into, because I'm a numerologist as well, right? So as a numerologist, it's like, we're already moving vibrationally into the new year, right? Because things don't just happen. It's not like January 1st and we're there, because everything is energy, everything flows. So if you start being mindful of the negative thoughts and the negative experiences you experienced this year, and then towards the end of the year, just burn it. Just burn it. And you'll be amazed on how, like, and even if there's something you want to manifest now, like on a paper, like I say parchment paper, like the brown paper bag you get at Whole Foods or Publix, you take it and you cut it into a square, whatever size, and put it in half. One side, put what you want, and the other side, put what you don't want. What you don't want, after you're done, cut it, burn it, and throw it outside to the trees, throw it out to the ethers. And what it is that you want, keep it and watch how it manifests into your life. Then, because like, let those negative words go because they don't belong to you. And even just doing that process, because negativity is heavy. And all those, the way those things, there's like whatever it is that you can do that could allow you to see it just go. It's not yours, just go. Magnificence. And the reason why I got into image consulting was because I wanted to help people see their magnificence. So everyone, I would just say thank you for having me, and may you continue to experience your magnificence.
Thank you, Daphney.